Hello, everyone. Welcome to the JoMiRo podcast. JoMiRo. I am Robert Adams, the Ro of JoMiRo, and I am with Joey.
Hey, yeah, this is Joe LaFaziano.
Great start. And Michael.
No, you just threw you off. And my name is Michael Cripe, and I'm here with someone who apparently doesn't know how to listen to audio cues.
Neither of these people are on my left or right, but they are on each other's left and right in a faraway land.
If you want to visualize this moment of the podcast, Joe is on my left, and I am on his right.
Yeah, I had it all planned out. You introduced yourself, and I was pointing at Michael, and I was like, "You're next." And then you said Joe, and I was like, "Oh no, it's me."
Yeah, it's almost like we said Robert was going to do the intro, and it was all up to him.
We didn't go from there.
All right, what's going on?
Yeah, what are we talking today? And Joey, we are going to start with you because we've been following this flow of Joe, then me, then Ro. So, what's been on your mind?
On my mind, not too much. But recently, a few days ago, I think it's been like 2 or 3 or so. The Texas Rangers, the baseball team. Have you heard of them?
I do know of them.
You do know of them? Okay. They had their home opener, and they are the first team in sports to allow a 100% audience capacity.
I'm going to just pause for a second here. I'm eating toast. So
Okay.
if this turns into an impromptu ASMR session, that's just where we're going. Continue. I apologize.
All right. Anyways, they are the first professional sports team to have a full capacity, I guess, hold a full capacity sporting event since the pandemic started back in, was it March of last year?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that's when it really got into lockdown, started, and everything.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so these past few days, they were the very first ones to hold a full capacity viewing of a sporting event. And it kind of got me thinking, like, how long until this trend continues? I was looking into it a little bit, and um, saw a article or an interview with Dr. Fauci, and he was talking about it a little. And somebody asked him about the other sporting events, and he says that he believes that by the end of the year, around the fall season when football starts up, they could have a full capacity then, and probably starting from then on, we'll be back to kind of, not the limited capacity. So it got me thinking, like, when do you guys think will like return back to normal? How long do you think that would be?
Robert, you can go ahead.
Yeah, that's a good question. I've actually been thinking about that Texas was like the first state to just say you guys don't have to wear masks anymore. Like
Really smart call. I love it.
Yeah, they listed the mask mandate. But going back to the Rangers, they do still have rules for mask being required, unless
Mhm.
you're at your seat eating or drinking. But in a baseball game, you're basically doing that the entire time.
Yeah.
So, and there are some designated areas where it's like distanced areas, but I don't think it's that much of the stadium.
Hmm. So I have an amendment to your question. I'm going to answer it a little bit differently because I have a lukewarm take for you guys.
Okay.
Lukewarm take.
I-
COVID bad.
Yeah, I think that some places are going to keep mandating masks forever. I think some things are going to continue this. I think there's going to be like a bunch of other things that definitely open up, like 100% capacity and no masks. But I feel like some places, maybe I could see like hospitals or maybe just like senior facilities potentially like requiring masks, or like maybe not to the same degree that we see right now, but to some potential in the future. Um, but to answer your full question, I feel like by this summer, as long as like variants don't start getting more dangerous, then I feel like things will start to get back to like at least 75% of what it used to be like. But I don't know. What do you think, Michael?
Well, I want to ask real quick. So when you say that you can see places doing or requiring masks forever, when you say that, do you mean I'm sure you mean like establishments, like individual businesses and things like that?
Yeah, I don't think it would be like a government thing. I feel like it'd be a private. At least I don't know too much about like private hospitals and how they work, or like private senior facilities. But I feel like you know masks and COVID. I'm sure this is probably new legal territory, and going forward, I I feel like some businesses like either for trying to keep people safe or to try and keep their legal butts safe, they might just hold on to this.
Yeah, I could definitely see that, and I could see businesses keeping things optional. I mean, I guess it would have to be optional, and no one's going to ban masks, but um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I guess I don't know if I could see anyone doing masks, requiring masks permanently, but I do see the angle you're coming at to kind of protect themselves, and their businesses. Um, but as far as Joey's question, I'd have to say I'm not sure if we could ever really go back to normal. I feel like things are different
Mm, yeah.
um, after all of this settles down. It'll obviously settle down, and you'll see a drastic decrease in mask usage and all that. But some people are going to wear masks
Yeah.
forever, and how we treat our health and uh, our communication with people is different forever, I think. And it's something a lot of people have talked about as far as like people working from home. Like my girlfriend, for
Mhm.
example, she went to work. She used to go to work 5 days a week, and now something like that is a little more up in the air in terms of when she's going to go to work or if she can work from home, because now that they know that's a possibility,
Hmm.
it's almost like a why not kind of thing,
Mhm.
especially if it helps like workers' mental health and things like that. So I don't know. COVID's a really weird thing, especially with the technology we have now. It's how we come out of this over the next few years is going to be really interesting to watch, I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And Joe, you posed the question. What do you think about it all?
Um, I'm really not too sure. I would love to be optimistic and say like, hey, I think it'll all be done by the next few months or so. People pretty soon, everyone should be available to get the vaccination if they would like to get it or anything like that. But I feel like a lot of people won't. Or sorry, a lot of people is the wrong term. I feel like there's a handful of people who won't. That would just kind of like continue to, in a way, drag us down, because they just, I don't know, for one reason or another, they don't think that it will work or it does work. And I think stuff like that will kind of continue to bite us in the end and kind of push it back further and further. I just hope that by the end of the year, we will hopefully be able to like proceed with semi normal life, you know?
Yeah, no, I feel that. There's a lot of things that I was gonna try and do for the first time in 2020, and they all got pushed back. Like I've only ever been to one concert in my entire life, and it was a miserable experience. And so, like over the past couple of years, my friends have been pushing me, like you got to go to a concert, you know. And so
Mhm.
I was like, all right, 2020, I've got a few options, a few bands that are like close. No,
Picked a good year.
yeah,
Yeah.
and also I've only ever been to like professional sports. Like the only thing that I've been to in that regard is like a Royals game, and I think I've been to like three, and one Braves game and one Yankees game. But I've never been to an NFL game, and I just want to at least go once, even though I don't have a dog in the fight or no real interest. But again, like I live in Indianapolis, Colt Stadium shut down. So
Yeah. Real quick, back on whenever you eventually get a chance to go see some sports, I would highly recommend finding a way to go to a soccer game. Whether you're a fan of soccer or not, the atmosphere there is better than any other professional sports setting I've been to.
I
So
believe
whether you're
it.
a fan of soccer or not, I definitely recommend going and at least catching a match.
Soccer's pretty cool, but it's also hella boring.
False. Or sorry, that's your opinion.
Note taken.
Everyone's allowed to have an opinion, wrong or right.
It's
In your
like
case, wrong.
it's like you just sit and do nothing for an hour, and then every hour there's an explosion. And it's kind of terrifying, but very exciting. And then it's another hour of nothing. Is that a fair assessment in your professional opinion?
No. Even
I knew that was coming.
No. Submit.
yeah, no. Period. Send. That's all. Um, Even if the match itself is, as you would say, boring, nothing going on, no explosions. Um, it's more so the crowd, the atmosphere, and feeding off of each other. Um,
That's
cheer-
disgusting.
Yeah, okay. Cheering together, being upset together. It's just that whole experience that makes it fun. So whether the match is boring or not, you can always kind of count on the other fans around you to help you enjoy yourself.
The atmosphere is incredible. I will say that. I guess I'm just talking about the game itself. Is that fair? That it's horrible trash garbage and unwatchable.
Not horrible trash garbage unwatchable, but
No.
soccer can tend to be one of the more boring sports due to how slow and um, basically strategical the game is played.
That makes sense.
Because
Oh,
they think through every action because one crucial mistake can result in a goal, and a lot of soccer games will end 1-0. So all it takes is that one mistake to lose you
mhm.
the entire game.
Yeah. I mean, it can't be as boring as baseball, though. I mean,
Oh my god, baseball is so painful.
dude,
Guys, killing me
I.
here.
I'm sorry, Joey. I know we're shitting on sports, but I mean, I played baseball for 13 years, and I can tell you, it is the most boring sport to
I
to
played
watch.
baseball until I tried to kill myself while I
Oh
was
my god!
because it was so boring. That's not a true story at all. I'm sorry. I don't like baseball either.
No,
Baseball is fun.
I made a mistake when I was in college. I was trying to organize like this mixer for like a few different student organizations, and I took us to a Royals game. And
Oh,
it was
nice,
like
nice.
110 degrees, and the
Nice.
buses were only supposed to drop us off and then pick us up at a certain time. And people like were begging to go home. I felt so bad. I was like, "Oh man, I paid a lot of money for this." Like,
So, long story short, COVID got rid of sports, and unfortunately, it didn't get rid of them forever. Yes.
I love sports. I'm a huge sports fan.
wait, question, Joey. If you could make one sport like the most watched out of like it was like a nationally mandated watching period in every country in the world, which sport would you pick and why?
That's a fantastic question.
Um, well, it doesn't sound like a fantastic question. I don't want to force people to watch a sport.
Well,
Oh,
let's just pretend
Okay,
that
yeah,
it.
I
not
get what you're
fun.
saying. um, Basketball, without a doubt. The game
Oh.
is beautiful.
There's sort of an elegance with basketball, you know?
hmm
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
Most of the time, it's fun and exciting. Very rarely do you have a low scoring game. So, as Mike was talking about with soccer, how there's an hour, then an explosion. With basketball, you get something exciting happen probably every 2 to 3 minutes. At the professional level, at least, you get something to be happy about, or like, oh, look at that, or whoa, that was cool.
Yeah,
So that's all. Yeah.
it's a very engaging sport. I'd agree with that. So, starting Monday, every country around the world will be forced to watch basketball. How do you feel about that, Germany? I don't know. I was running out of things to say. Words started coming out of my mouth. I want to kind of continue this, Robert. What sport would you force people to watch against their will?
Volleyball, hands down.
Yep.
I
Also, another great sport.
Yeah, I love volleyball. Playing it, watching anime of it.
We were going on the road, and then there was a hard left. See, listeners, see if you can figure out where that left was. Was it at anime? The answer is yes.
Robert, real quick, do you prefer as in you playing, not you watching? Do you prefer hard court volleyball or sand volleyball?
Oh, hard court indoor. I
Okay.
like sand. It's fun, but I'm not a tall guy, but I can jump. So
Mhm.
when I'm indoors, it's just I
The
actually
sand
can
kind of
play.
takes your momentum, kind of sinks you down.
The sand, I just feel like a slug. I'm just like, okay, guys, I'm
Okay.
gonna play defense. That's it.
That makes sense.
Are you
Personally,
a sand guy?
I prefer the sand. I love diving on the ground and digging up balls. So diving on sand is a lot more enjoyable than diving on hard court.
Oh, absolutely.
It's the sentence, I love sand. This really hit me different.
You heard it here first on the JoMiRo podcast. I love sand.
Interests, sand.
Michael?
Yeah, I mean, if volleyball is, yeah, I'd say everything's better than soccer.
That's rough.
I mean, is there anything else you want to touch about COVID here? Because
Yeah.
it's just such a wide topic, you know.
Wait, Michael,
Yeah.
which sport would you pick?
I was gonna get to that.
Listen, I don't even know what sports is.
You know a
I'm
sport.
just going along with the podcast.
You know, sport.
I don't know a sport, and don't
Come
be
on.
like, "Oh, Michael, you swam." Like,
No, I wasn't gonna say that.
because that's not even a real sport, and I
Come
can
on.
say that because I did it. I'm lying.
It's not a real sport because I don't know how to do it.
Well, that's not a good reason.
Exactly.
What were you gonna say? Were you gonna say something?
Yeah, you know what sport?
What sport?
Esports.
I knew he was gonna say that.
What about esports, Michael?
I had no idea you were going there.
Yeah, perfect for you.
I mean, yeah. What's wrong with watching League of Legends every Monday? I can't imagine how that would be completely just.
You think
I
our
can't-
country is polarized now? Just wait.
I don't know if I can imagine a worse fate for the world than being forced to watch professional League of Legends matches every Monday, and
Oh my God.
maybe 5% of them knowing what's going on at all.
I could just imagine my grandpa's watching. He's like, "Well, what the hell is this policy that Biden implemented?"
You're gonna watch League of Legends, Jack, and you're gonna like it. I don't know. League of Legends is for nerds. I don't know what else to say.
Have you ever played it?
Yeah, I've played it, and then I promptly threw my computer out the window because I wanted nothing more to do with it.
That's fair.
Yeah. Have you played it?
I tried it on my laptop, and my laptop is a potato, and so it didn't work out too well. And then eventually it did, and there was just so much going on, and it was so confusing.
I love how you were like, I tried and it didn't work, but then it did work. And that was an integral part of the story.
And then it didn't work for me. So yeah, I tried it. I don't like it too much.
Robert, we were really taking COVID to League of Legends here, but what do you think of League of Legends?
I mean, I played it once, and it was like slightly enjoyable. That was about it. But I mean, I'm still stuck on this idea of like, this is playing across the nation. Like everybody's watching this. Like people like in schools, people in retirement homes. You're on the bus. There's like an advertisement, and like some dude's uncle comes up to you and he's like, I don't know why we started this program, but I really like that Garen character.
There's more to esports than League of Legends.
No, there's not.
That's it.
Right. You're right.
I don't know if you've ever heard of this thing called Fortnite, but I haven't. It's just League of Legends.
What's that?
What? um, um, but yeah, League of Legends is trash. Soccer's trash, and you know what else is trash? COVID. Hot take. Take that, virus.
Yeah, making our way back to COVID.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
Full
it's
circle. I
been
got my
canceled.
COVID,
Okay.
Robert.
Oh, please
I canceled
continue.
COVID in my body today when I got the second Pfizer vaccine. Robert, if you don't start clapping.
I'm
There we
clapping.
go. Okay, you can. I can hear it. Now. That's good.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
I canceled COVID. I want to talk about pets today.
Okay.
I dropped a hard pee into the microphone and it blew out my eardrums.
Oh
But
yeah.
So pets.
What about
Pets.
pets?
I want to talk about what your guys' pets have meant to you in your lives. And different pets you've had. What qualifies as a pet. And things like that. You know, kind of what you don't. Oh my God, what are you rolling your eyes for?
Nothing.
You just gave me a
I
look
didn't roll my
like
eyes.
I shot his dog.
Oh my God.
I love my eyes. So pets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
You wanna
got a
start us
dog.
off? Yeah.
You do have a
Yeah,
dog.
yeah. I'm getting to it. I've got a dog named Nova.
Yeah.
And she's horrible. That's really all I have to say about it.
There
That's
you go.
not true. I love Nova so much. She just has breath that smells a little bit like trash that's been in the garbage can for maybe 5 days, and you don't want to take it out because you're too lazy, but it's sitting there and it's smelling worse and worse, and there's nothing you can do about it. And by nothing, I mean there's definitely something. You just don't know what that is.
I hate when that smell comes out of your mouth.
Yeah, and then you what? And then you take the trash out and it still smells bad in there. That's kind of what it smells like. But other than that, she's adorable. And I love her. And if she continues to lick your hand right now, I will put her up for adoption because I cannot stand that sound. But that's the pet I have in my life right now. Tell me about some pets you guys have had throughout your life. So, like, for example, Joey,
Yes.
have you ever had any family pets? Why are you thinking about it at all?
Joey, you have a dog.
You phrased it as family pets.
Yeah, no, I do mean family pets. I'm not talking about the dog you currently have that I know you have.
Okay.
I'm talking about family pets.
No, I've never had a family pet. I wanted one as a kid, and my mom's not a fan of dogs. She said no, so I got a stuffed dog instead. We called it Fluffy.
So did you count that as a pet?
No, but that's the closest thing I had as a kid.
So what was it like for you then getting a dog in college after not having any pets in your life really at all?
It was great. I've always loved dogs, loved being around dogs. Michael has a dog, and it's probably my favorite animal I've ever witnessed in my life. He'll probably get to that on his turn. But yeah, whenever I eventually got a dog in college, it was like the best day of my life.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's astounding.
Mm-hmm.
I heard you say that you've considered selling your dog Mac.
I've never considered selling him.
So are you lying right now?
No,
No.
I would never sell Mac.
Why?
'Cause I don't
Tell
think
me
he's
why.
worth that much. That's a joke. I love Mac with all my heart.
Are you sure?
Yeah, he has his problems, but he's great. He's honestly the best dog I've ever met.
We've got at least one person listening to this podcast who may know about Mac. I don't know. Describe Mac. I described Nova. Her one quality boils down to smelling horribly.
Oh, also, real quick, tell the story about how you guys got your pets.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that.
Sure.
I got Nova because I have a girlfriend that wanted a dog, and I was forced to pick this little monster out of the pet shelter. That's not true again. Do you people remember when we said we were going to lie on this podcast? Nothing has changed. Nova, we got her at a local pet shelter, and she is a boxer mix with an American Staffordshire Terrier. Um, and we just got her in October of not last year, but the year before. And we've had her since. And it was a very simple process. We actually walked in. We had been looking for a dog for maybe a month. And we walked in and saw her and had her adopted in less than an hour. We loved her so much and knew we wanted her and knew she was the dog for us. And she is still here, unfortunately. So what you were going to say about Mac, how we got Mac.
Yeah. So what was it? Junior year of college, right?
Yeah.
I believe it was junior. Junior year of college, we had a friend, or one of our roommates' friends, had a dog that at the moment he couldn't keep because of one reason or another. I don't remember the reason for that, but we like kind of fostered it for a little bit for, what would you say, a month, 2 months.
Yeah, 2 months. Yeah,
Okay.
2 months.
Yeah, so we had her for 2 months. Little English, right? English bulldog.
I believe so.
Yeah,
Yes.
English bulldog, and like we took care of it, blah blah blah. And then eventually his friend was able to like move into a place that allowed dogs. I think that was the problem, the reason. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then we had to give her back, and I was like, oh man, now I really want a dog. So I talked to Michael here and one of our other roommates about getting a dog, and it took the other roommate a little bit more time to agree, like, hey, okay, sure, good idea. So but eventually it happened, and we went to our local shelter, looked around for, I'd say, a few weeks, maybe a week or two. And then eventually we found Mac. He was about 6 or 7 months old. No, they don't really have any records on him because he was abandoned in an apartment whenever they found him, just kind of locked in his kennel. But we eventually decided to adopt him. He just kind of, like, first time we played with him, just kind of, I don't know. We liked this little spunk. Now he's grown up to be great. Honestly.
He's a good dog.
Mm-hmm.
He is a C+ dog.
He he. You can call him a C+ dog, but what he's good at, he's really good at.
That would be the plus in the C+.
Oh yeah.
Robert, I want to hear about your family dogs because I know about one of them, but I'm honestly not sure if I know if you've had any others.
Well, so you said pets, so I'm going to expand this a little bit
Please do.
because when I was little, the very first pets that I had were two hermit crabs. And because I had such a creative imagination, I named them H1 and H2.
For Hermit Crab 1 and Hermit Crab 2.
Absolutely, so I wouldn't forget.
God forget you forget God forbid you forget their names because it's so important that a hermit crab knows its name.
Absolutely. I remember I had this little tank that was in my room and there's like a little light on top. And in the morning I would like talk to them
Oh.
because I was an insane child and I would call them by their names, H1 and H2. And I'm like thinking back to it, like that is so much work, like mental work to come up with those names and commit to it. I could have called it like Harry and George. It'd been so much easier.
Yes,
But
definitely.
so I had those two hermit crabs, and I think the reason we got them was we had some family friends come by and they were moving somewhere. And so they had a bunch of their stuff with them and they had hermit crabs and they had to like take them out of the trailer because it was like, I guess like no air and it was like really dark in there. So they brought them inside and my family was like, oh, okay, that's like a cool starter pet. Um, Little did they know that later on, I would accidentally murder one of them. So,
Go on, please.
so I had these hermit crabs. Like they don't last very long. I remember, like in child when my mind's a child every day felt like a year. I'm like, oh my god, I get to play with these things. You could like literally put them in the sink, and let the water come down a little bit, and just like clog the drain just slightly, and you could just like watch them crawling around in it. They'd love it. Or at least I don't know. Maybe they don't. That's what I thought.
You
But
assumed they loved it.
they do this thing where how they grow. They have to eventually change shells. because it's not like they're not attached to the shell. It's essentially they look like some sort of shrimp thing, and they have like this really soft underbelly,
Uh-huh.
and they keep that like that's where all the organs are. They keep that deep in the shell, and they also like molt and whatnot, and they shed like their I don't know if you could call it skin, but it's a pretty gross process and it smells bad. And you never know when it's going to happen, especially if you're a child who knows nothing about hermit crabs. And so one day, like I had a bunch of these shells in there, and I was like, okay, it's going to like go into one of them. Well, hermit crabs can really coil themselves back into their shells, like far back where you can't see even a claw. And so I was like, it disappeared. My hermit crab is gone. And so
Do you remember if this was H1 or H2?
this was H1, 100%. Because H1 was like a reddish tone, and H2 was like a tan tone,
Hmm.
and uh, H2 was a lot more shy. H1 was like the more like movie, would like play with you, very extroverted. But this was weird because I didn't see H1, so I was like, this is off. Like I was like, oh my god, it's dead. It's like stuck in one of these shells, and it's just never coming out. And so my genius brain at the time, galaxy brain move here, I decided I need to break it out of its shell. So I asked my dad, "Do you have a hammer?" And he got
Oh my
excited.
god!
I know, I know. He was excited because he thought I was going to build something. Little did he know I was going to go out into the front yard of the driveway and try and crack open the shell to free the hermit crab. My goal, my intentions were pure. They were
Yes, they were.
just. I wanted to free this hermit crab and give it a proper burial if it was dead, or move it to another shell if it was alive. And I assumed it was probably dead, so I even got a keyboard. I had one of those like keyboards that could play automatic tunes. And I had my friend. I remember this clear as day. My friend Jack Nystrom. He was there. Jack, if you're alive, hit me up, man. It's been years, decades even. But um, he had the keyboard and he was pretending to play, and he had one of the auto songs going on. And I wanted a proper funeral for this thing, so I started hitting it with the hammer, and I didn't realize how much strength I had, and I just smashed this thing, like just completely smashed it. And then I started to see the hermit crab move, and I was like, "Oh my god, I just, I just killed this thing. It was still alive." So the
Yeah.
whole time, Jack is not paying attention to anything because he's getting so into it. He's pretending to play the keyboard, and so I'm just crying. I'm sobbing. I'm crying in my driveway, and my brother comes outside and he's just laughing because he's like, this ridiculous scene. And so I
I'm
take
picturing the scene now.
the scraps of the hermit crab and I have to like shovel it along the driveway because I did it right in the middle of the driveway and I was afraid of my parents finding out. So I was like, I need to hide the evidence of me killing this hermit crab. And so I'm like shoveled it along the driveway and then buried it underneath some dirt. And you can see like just shattered parts of the shell everywhere. My mom gets home and she just like shakes her head. Just like I'm just sitting there crying. She's like, okay, we're not gonna get you another hermit crab.
What did you do with H2?
I kept H2 for about another year and then it died. Like actually
Okay.
died.
Of natural causes, right?
Yeah.
Great.
That's lovely. That's I'm scared of you, Robert. I, I I thought this would be really heartwarming, us talking about our pets. Um, but I don't know what to say. I'm speechless, really.
Huh.
My intentions were pure. I wanted to free this thing.
You know, you
You
freed him.
freed it.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
definitely freed him.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, then I didn't have a pet for like another 10 years, and that was our dog Trip, which was
Mm.
great. Trip was a great dog.
Trip was great.
Um, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's it. Good dog.
You're right.
You didn't try to free him or anything like that.
No, we had him for 12 and a half years. I think you guys know the story about how we got him, right? Or maybe not. I'll tell
I
it.
don't think so, actually.
Refresh me. My
So,
mind.
for those of you who
Remind me.
aren't aware, I have a younger brother named Jacob, who I mentioned earlier. Well, Jacob is the type of person where if he wants something, he like just is dead set on it. And when we moved from Georgia to Missouri after the hermit crab incident, my brother was in like just set on us getting a dog. We moved to uh, the countryside. And there's more space, and it was a new step. And so um, Jacob would ask everyone at every single yard sale we went to, because this was back when yard sales were still a thing. And he was asking them, "Hey, do you guys have a dog for sale?" And we probably went to like 6 yard sales that day. And it was the last one, or maybe the second to last one. And he asked them, and I didn't hear this at the time, but my mom did. And she told me that when he asked them, they said, "No, we don't have a dog for sale, but we have a dog for free." And
Mm.
my brother's eyes just lit up. And my dad, I remember hearing, he was like, "Oh, God." So I like out of nowhere, we're just playing with this dog, and I was just like, "Oh, we're just playing with a stranger's dog." Come to find out, my parents have said yes to taking this thing home. I'm like, "Oh, okay, we have a dog coming home with us." And for those who don't know about Trip, Trip is he was a German Shepherd Black Lab mix. He had like the white tuxedo vest in the front, and his paws were white.
Mhm.
Everything else was jet black. Looked mostly like a lab, but then he had like the curled, fluffy tail of a German Shepherd. Um, Most jealous dog I've ever met, but also just so very friendly and loving.
Mhm.
Um, he hopped right in the car like immediately, and we just took him home. And then 12 and a half years later, he lived a good life.
Trip was an amazing dog.
Yeah.
I mean, I miss Trip. He was really sweet. Um, when did Trip pass away? I don't remember.
I want to say that was two years ago now. I think.
2 years ago. Yeah, he was a really sweet dog. I'm glad he didn't go out like an H1. Um,
Nobody deserves to go out like H1.
not a soul deserves to go out like H1. Um, I'm gonna be honest. I'm starting to feel the effects of this COVID vaccine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hitting me. I want to be clear. Everyone should go get their vaccines. It's a very good thing.
Mhm.
Also, you might feel a little tired after you get that second one, maybe after the first one. It's hard to say, but for me, it's the second one. Sorry, you're gonna say something?
Do you want to tell us about your family dog?
Yeah. So, I'll wrap up here. I'll talk about my family dogs, and we can move on to Robert's plans of what he wants to talk about. But I uh, I have currently three family dogs. My parents that live in the same state as me, so I don't get to see them too often. Um, but we've got two golden doodles, one named Ellie, one named Reagan, an Australian Shepherd named Scout. Joey's a big fan of Scout.
I love Scout.
He loves Scout.
I love Scout.
Love Scout. And we've also got a cat named Indy. And I grew up with my parents having two golden retrievers. Their names were Maddie and Nikki. And then for the remainder, or for the last, I guess, 13, 12 years, we had a dog and a golden retriever named Lucy, and she passed away last year, in August.
Mhm.
Um, and it was really hard on me, and it still kind of is. I think pets just really bond to us and give us an opportunity to love things
Mm-hmm.
in a in a really human way. And I'm I it's so sad because they don't live lives as long as we do, or at least most animals don't. Um, but I think that means that their short lives are that much more precious. Not trying to get too serious.
There's this saying that goes something like, to us they're only part of our lives, but to them we are their entire lives, or something like that, and it's always like super sweet,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, no,
100%.
absolutely. Dogs are just so friendly. I
Hmm.
mean,
Mhm.
just to endless sea of just unconditional love, which is just such a special thing. And I
Hmm.
think, especially for children, it just it's.
Hmm.
I think you said it really well when you said, it gives you the opportunity to love something, um, and like you get to care about something, and uh, really put your all into like essentially like a relationship. It's really good for children because I think it helps them like realize like, if you love something, you should treat it right, and that also applies to like humans. There are other people.
Hmm.
I on that note, as as much as I mean that, my dog Nova is for sale, and by for sale I mean she's completely free. Please take her away.
Uh,
Um, Go ahead.
but before we get off the topic of dogs, it's not technically my dog. It's my girlfriend's dog, but she has a boxer, a little baby boxer. She got him in February of 2020.
He's not so little anymore.
Yeah.
No, he's not little. He's like 70 pounds or something, and up to my hip. He's
Wait, are you
gotten
serious?
Yeah, he's gotten really big. But he's not technically my dog, but I've kind of helped raise him since he was I think 16 weeks old is whenever you're able to pick him up. So we got him around that time. So for the past over a year, I've been helping watch him, train him, blah blah blah. But it's technically my girlfriend's dog, but I do love that dog. Koa is full of so much energy. He's so playful and snuggly. He's the complete opposite of Mac. Whereas
And I hate Mac.
Whereas Koa runs around and cuddles with you all day, Mac is like a cat. He'll sleep from like 9 at night to noon the next day. He'll wake up to eat, then go back to bed. But yeah, Koa's great. Mac's great.
Yeah, pets in general. I wanted to give us something to talk about, that was really happy, and as sad as I am that I lost a great dog like Lucy, and I have a great dog like Nova now. I think they're it's almost always a positive experience, at least as far as I've had to deal with pets. And I think they're a happy topic. And if you have a pet, or if you don't have a pet, rather, I think you should look into getting one and just look into see what a pet could do for you if you've never had one before.
Yeah, highly recommend
Absolutely.
getting a pet.
But
Um,
also, if I might add to that, get a pet after doing your research, and
yes,
Yeah,
and know that you can support this thing. It's not just
they.
there to love you. You're there to love it as well.
It's a lot of
absolutely.
work, a
They're
lot of responsibility.
Yeah, that's the other side of the coin. While they are incredible companions, pets can be, no matter what kind of animal it is. They are also a tremendous amount of responsibility, and you can learn a lot from that, and that's great. But yeah, you can't be treating pets like they're just objects or a present on Christmas.
Yeah,
They are a family member that you need to take care of and care for.
you love them when they're new. You love them when they're old.
Absolutely.
Hmm. All right, what you got for us, Rob?
Something completely different.
I'm here for it.
I want to start off with a question. What sort of business or finance classes did you guys take in college and or high school?
I can remember one strictly business/finance class I took in high school, and I don't remember there being many offerings for things that kind of set up a foundation of knowledge, for things like that in college, or really ever in any education experience I've had, at least to the places I went.
Yeah, we had that one class in high school that we were required to take. Um, and I don't remember I think we just called finance. I think that was just the name of the class. We had to take
Mhm.
that like junior year or something. And other than that, I haven't done anything else involving that.
Interesting. Yeah, I thought that was the case. That's what my experience was as well. I did get a business minor in college, but I can tell you right now it's very useless. Not much. I didn't learn much from it at all. Um, but I wanted to talk about this with you guys because the world of business, I think, affects us every day, and there's like a certain degree of financial literacy that we need in order to be like functional adults, but it's just not taught in school at all. Like you guys mentioned, there's like hardly any classes, especially in high school when we're preparing to be adults. Um, but like filing your taxes and trying to understand like a budget, paying for rent, your utilities, um, or just getting your food. Everything comes down to like you know your money and how you handle it. But
Mhm.
the only experience that I can remember that I got with that was like from my parents, and they were like, "You need to take classes on this because like they're not going to teach you about it." And that's like one of the only reasons I took classes in college. Um, but I don't know. I'm curious, like what your guys' thoughts are on like why there isn't like why financial literacy isn't taught in school. I almost feel like it's potentially intentional. Like, but
I
I'll get to that in a moment.
Okay. I don't think it's intentional. I can't imagine why it would be intentional, but I'd love to hear why you think it would be. Um, to be honest, I don't know. I don't know why um, financial literacy isn't taught in class past any degree that really matters. And Yeah, I honestly don't know. It's always been something that's baffled me. I've gone through life, and doing my taxes has been a struggle the past 2 years. And something in high school or college would have really helped with that, but it was never really there. Like I mentioned, I did take a class in high school, but to say that it prepared me for life would be a vast understatement. Um, but yeah, I guess I don't really have an answer for why, or even an idea, which is probably the worst thing. I wish there was some reason why we aren't taught these things in school, but I can't think of one.
Yeah, in the same boat as Michael, I can't think of why not. As a former school teacher, I've been in a setting. I was a teacher for a few years, and then currently I am not. Um, and there's a lot of stuff that they do teach in school that I feel like isn't completely necessary when there should be more life lessons such as finances and taxes, how to manage stuff like that. Things that you should learn in school and so that you don't have to eventually learn firsthand when it's too late later on in life. Like going back to I think last episode we were talking about how technology is advancement and stuff. And I'm not saying math isn't important, but there's some types of math you learn in school that it's people will never and have like never used after taking that class or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So there's stuff like that that they teach the kids, but there's the important life lessons like taxes and understanding like how to actually budget and stuff like that that they really need to teach the kids.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And so to answer your question, Michael, about the intentionality thing, I want to clarify that because when I mean intentional, I mean we all have talked about like like why isn't it a part of like our curriculum, and I don't think any of us could come up with a good answer, which makes me feel like it's intentionally left out. Now, I think that there could be debate whether or not that is based off of just ignorance or some sort of nefarious intent. I don't have enough evidence to argue one way or the other, but I I know so many classes like what you were talking about, Joey, where in high school I didn't take them, but I they were optional, and I feel like some people felt like that was the only thing that they could take. But I don't know if you guys remember, like home economics was a class that was in high school,
Yeah,
and
I wish I would have taken it more seriously.
oh, you took it? Wait,
Yeah, I think near the end of the semester, because it was only semester class. Like near the end, I would just start sleeping in that class because I just didn't take it seriously, and I completely regret it.
wh-
Without a doubt in my mind, I regret not taking that class seriously.
what all did you, or that you can remember? What did you learn in that class? Like, what was the goal?
We learned kind of how to use basic kitchen equipment, or sorry, we were taught how to learn how to use basic kitchen equipment. Once again, I wish I would have taken it more seriously because I didn't learn this stuff, but it was being taught. Also, in the back of our classroom were some sinks, stoves, ovens, stuff like that, where we actually did some baking and cooking, and we were kind of taught recipes and how to make like some simple stuff.
Okay, that's a lot cooler than what I remember. So,
Yeah, we made our own snacks and food and stuff, and like it was you could just eat it in class, and if there's any left over, you basically take it to your next class and give it to your friends.
hmm. Then maybe I'm confusing with another class because I remember there was a class in high school where girls had to pretend to be pregnant for a while, and then they had to like have a fake baby. You guys remember
I
that?
know yeah, I
I
know what
do
you're talking
remember that.
about.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think that was called like life skills or something
life
like that.
skills. The thing is, it's like, sure, that is a life skill if you plan on being a parent or maybe specifically a mother. But, there are so many other things in life that are, I don't know, affect you a little bit more. Raising a child is definitely a very big portion of some people's lives. But
Hmm.
you start paying taxes as soon as you exit high school, basically. And you got to learn how to balance a budget and learn how to live on your own and navigate the world. And that's just something that's just completely ignored. Like, I remember when I got to college and I started like making some of my own money, I was working at Ross Dress for Less. And, um, like, I had money and I wasn't being smart about putting it towards rent. And that's like the first time I started to like worry about money. Was like I was just like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, I've just been kind of thinking about like, oh, this is like, I have money, I can spend this money. That's like the first thing that came to mind. And I feel like a lot of people
Yeah.
have that reaction. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, same. All the way throughout college, we lived in a house for about maybe 2.5 years. And our rent was stupid cheap. It was like 100 a person,
Oh
and
my
then
god.
yeah, no, the rent was so cheap, and like the bills were like maybe like altogether 40 or 50. So each month I was paying 150 a month just to live, and I was like, this is easy. This is so simple. um, and then I moved on, and like I got a job and got my own apartment, and I kept it cheap. I didn't get a really expensive apartment or anything, so I was still doing fine. But um, ever since the beginning of this year, I've been planning to move. My girlfriend and I are moving in together, and we got ourselves a house and stuff like that. So I'm preparing to move, and financially, probably should have started saving a lot sooner because where I'm at now is okay, but it's definitely not where like, oh, I'm completely comfortable. I am totally fine where I am, but that's my experience with saving. Just wish I would have done it sooner and more efficiently.
Dead air. Dead air. Dead air.
I thought
Dead
maybe you
air.
would chime in, Michael.
Yeah, I thought Michael had something to say.
Um, I'm trying to not die at the moment.
Oh, sorry.
That's fair. Save your energy, man. I've been there. I know what it feels like. It sucks.
I'm so sorry. um, I mean, yeah. So, like Joey mentioned, I don't know if we've actually mentioned this before, but we lived together in college. Have we mentioned this?
Yeah, we were
Memory shot.
roommates.
It's been implied, but
Okay, well there you go then.
Well, I
Confirmation.
mentioned it earlier that you and I and the other roommate got a dog together and we lived in the same house.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
So
You're
if we
right.
didn't mention it this episode, then probably not. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been taught from a young age how important saving is, but past that, I don't have much real financial experience. Nothing that matters in the real world. But yeah, like he said, our rent was stupid cheap.
I miss it. I miss it so
It
much.
was absurd.
you guys had a
How
nice place too.
Yeah, it really wasn't bad. It was my favorite house I've ever lived in to this day.
it had its problems, but like absolutely, like, for the what we paid, it was much better
It gave the
than
house
you'd expect.
character.
Yeah. Yeah. I had
How,
bats in my walls at one point.
yeah, he had bats in his walls. Our house had like 7 different doors that would like get you in or out of the house.
Yeah.
Great place, man.
Great place. I loved it. But for real, it was if I remember correctly, the first year we lived there, rent was $170 a
Something like
month.
that. Because we had 4 roommates, or there were 4 of us at the time.
Yeah, so that was really nice. What were we saying? What was the question?
You're talking
Just
about financially saving, how you've been taught at a young age how important saving is, and then you were talking about the house in college, how we mentioned we were
Yeah, yeah,
roommates.
yeah. But what was Robert's question? I want to make sure I
it's a
hit the nail on the head.
very open-ended question. Just like,
What is our experience
yeah, I'm just curious about your
financially?
guys' experience because the big thing I want, especially if there's any young listeners out there, to like take away some advice from this potentially about just like some things that you can do going forward because I feel like there are so many things that we just weren't taught, and I feel like it's still not. Well, I don't know enough about the current education system, but if I had to guess, I would bet my bottom dollar that is probably not being taught much more or much better than it was when we were there.
You bet
So,
your bottom dollar that you don't have because you weren't taught to save your bottom dollar.
Yeah. Well, I can confirm in the school that I was teaching in, that was not a subject.
yeah, it's like I remember we learned how to balance a checkbook. How many checks have you guys written in your entire life? Like,
I can think of one. To be completely honest.
Yeah, I haven't written any, but my girlfriend writes checks
see, some people do.
often,
And
kind
it's
of.
like important for them to know, but that's like a very specific thing. She probably has a specific purpose for that. It's good to send, it's easy to send checks like maybe over the mail to like a relative for a birthday or holiday or something. But outside of
Hmm.
that, I don't know. I'm mostly dealing cash or card, and I
I
hardly ever deal in cash.
Yeah, I can't
So
remember the last time I used cash.
yeah, and it's like they they never taught us anything about credit cards whenever I was young, and now there's like
Absolutely not.
True.
people will mail you stuff. You're like you're pre-approved for something, and it's like you're never taught as a child. Common sense should say, okay, I shouldn't take this offer, but some people are just they're just a little ignorant, and it
Common
sucks if they
sense
fall into
isn't
that trap.
common.
Right.
Like
Like that you're exactly right. Like I feel a lot of the things I learned as a kid and throughout my life prepared me enough to get through life and being financially responsible. But there are plenty of people who didn't have the same experience that I had. So, this idea that kids get thrown out into the real world with potentially no idea of what it's like to be financially responsible is terrifying. Like,
mm,
yeah, it's I don't know what would need to happen to change it exactly, or what that would even look like, but there definitely needs to be more financial education in um I think earlier in life to make it more of a I don't know, I want it should be normal. It should be normal that we
Hmm.
understand these things.
I think the best way to go about it is to implement it into schools, into a curriculum, maybe at an earlier age, instead of us being required to take the one class in high school, and maybe make it like 3, and maybe one of those should be in middle school. Kind of like get you aware of it early, because some people pick up jobs in high school, freshman, sophomore year.
yeah,
They have a job, so they're already dealing with money.
no, yeah,
So maybe an extra class or two, and possibly one at an earlier time in your life. And it doesn't have to be a full year class, just a semester, or if you don't do, or if your school doesn't do semester, just a unit on it, really, a month-long unit or something, just to kind of get the idea out there, so that could be something that the kids think about.
definitely. No, yeah, as you mentioned that, I completely forgot. Junior year of high school, I worked at Hobby Lobby.
Hmm.
Oh yeah.
And then Joey, you threw newspapers for a while.
Oh yeah, I threw newspapers for like 2 years, 365 days a year. It sucked.
Wait, Michael, did you work anywhere in high school? I can't remember.
um no.
Nice.
Yeah. No, I absolutely did not, and I wish I did. I want to be completely clear with you guys and everyone listening. I am falling to pieces as we speak. If it sounds like I've not been on my A game, it's because I'm on my freaking game. I don't know, man. I am absolutely a shriveled pile of what came before.
Can confirm. I'm looking at him right now, and he's falling. He's just falling to pieces.
And with that, that's probably a good place for us to stop then. The main point I wanted to make is I think that, more financial literacy in school. There's a lot of stuff that's just not taught that's so important that's just not talked about. And hopefully we can get you feeling better soon.
I'm so sorry, Robert. I want to give you the riveting conversation you desire, but I can barely count to 7 at the moment. So,
No, dude, I feel you. It put me down. Like whenever I literally felt like there was some sort of demon just like sucking my soul out of my body. So
That doesn't sound pleasant.
yeah, rest easy,
it's
man.
not.
Yeah, no.
Rest easy, man. Like I died.
You know that meme from Avatar where he's like, "That's rough, buddy."
Yep. Yes. Yep. Yep. And yes.
So I guess we'll see everyone next time.
If there is a next time for me.
Yeah, if there is a next time, if Michael makes it through, I guess we'll see. Tune in to find out.
This might be the memoriam episode.
All right, tune in next week for the JoMiRo podcast.
See ya, everybody. Bye. Thank you for listening.
JoMiRo.
JoMiRo.